You're listening to World War II, Above and Below. Hello everyone and welcome to World War II, Above and Below. If you're listening to this on Spotify, the video version includes historical photographs and footage of the 78th Fighter Group mixed in with gameplay video from Isle to Sturmovik Great Battles, a World War II combat flight sim. The gameplay footage is my friends and I flying Mustangs and Thunderbolts painted up in the markings of the 78th Fighter Group, all of which are historically accurate paint schemes. This will be a departure from my usual routine, and I promise that the next episode we will get back on track to following the 78th Fighter Group's history. I wanted to take this episode to talk about my upcoming trip to Duxford this September, and go into some trivia about a P-51 Mustang that flew in the 78th during World War II. With that, let's get to it. World War II, Above and Below presents stories of the 78th Fighter Group. Episode 4, Twilight Tier. Alright, first things first. This episode releases on July 4th, so a happy Independence Day to the American listeners and viewers. Hopefully at this point, those from the UK haven't moved on to something more entertaining, because I have some exciting news that has to do with Britain. I will be flying over to the UK in September to attend Duxford's Battle of Britain air show. I've got my tickets for Saturday and Sunday, and I literally cannot wait. This is the first time I've been to the UK, and the cherry on top is of course visiting the 78th Fighter Group's wartime home at Duxford. So if you see me, please say hello. Even if I'm filming, interrupt me. We share a common interest, and I would be remiss to pass up an opportunity to talk with people who enjoy consuming this history like I do. I'm also working on getting some World War II Above and Below apparel, and you'll likely see me walking around in a shirt or hoodie with my logo on it. So I hope to see some of you at Duxford's Battle of Britain Air Show for the 85th anniversary this September. Okay, time for some P-51 trivia. You've probably seen by now that there is some color film reel on my YouTube channel showing the 78th Fighter Group. Most of it is gun camera, but at the very end is 45 seconds of Mustangs lined up in rows organized by squadrons. MX being the 82nd, HL being the 83rd, and WZ being the 84th. These were the three fighter squadrons within the 78th Fighter Group. This reel was likely shot on June 7th, 1945, for what looks to be the final inspection of the 78th during World War II. And from my research, the Inspector General would have been Brigadier General Eugene Eubanks, commanding officer of the 3rd Air Division in the 8th Air Force. If you take a look at the footage, there's a panning shot where you can see a photographer snapping a couple of shots of the Mustangs. Unfortunately, I've yet to figure out who this is, but you can time up the color reel to the pictures taken by the guy in the foreground. From the position he is crouched, I'm pretty sure this is the photo he took. You can see he is facing the row of the 82nd Fighter Squadron Mustangs. So I think this is it. The fate of all these Mustangs is a mixed bag, from scrapped, sold off to other Allied countries, or shipped home to what will become Air National Guard units. Tracking down what precisely happened to each one can range from easy to difficult. That said, there is at least one Mustang from the 83rd Fighter Squadron that is surviving today. And I can't tell which one it is in that row, but I do know it was still part of the 78th at this time. There's a very high probability it's in that lineup somewhere. I'm going to provide a very short summary of Twilight Tier's history, but if you want to know more, check out the video link in the description. There's a 40-minute documentary narrated by Garry that goes over the full life of this Mustang. 44-63864 is a P-51D-20NA, NA indicating it was built in Inglewood, California by North American Aviation, and was delivered to the 78th Fighter Group in mid-December 1944. The Mustang went to the 83rd Fighter Squadron, where it was coded HLW, and was flown mostly by Lieutenant Hubert Davis. He named it Twilight Tier after the 1944 United States Horse of the Year. In her career, Twilight Tier won 18 races, including a streak of 11. She eventually went into the Thoroughbred Racehorse Hall of Fame in 1963. Twilight Tier, the P-51 Mustang, also did well for itself. Lieutenant Hubert Davis shot down 2 BF-109s and an Me-262 in this very Mustang. Take a look in the description again for his encounter reports of these actions. After the war, Twilight Tier was sold to the Swedish Air Force in 1947, then purchased by Israel in 1953. after 7 years of service. Israeli Aircraft Industries put their remaining Mustangs into storage, and without having to wait long, it was sold to Bob Lear in July 1960. If you're familiar with Learjet, Bob Lear is the gentleman who formed that company. Lear sold it to another man who tragically crashed it on landing in Iceland in 1963. The wreck was sold in 1991 before eventually being purchased by Ron and Diane Fagan of Granite Falls, Minnesota in 2005. You need to go check out their museum, by the way. It's called Fagan Fighters. It is an incredible collection and everything in it flies. And spoiler alert, including Twilight tier. A link to their museum is in the description. Now, here's the incredible part of Twilight tier's saga. The exact history wasn't known at the time of purchase by the Fagans. In the early phase of the restoration process, it was discovered that this Mustang was a World War II combat vet of the 78th Fighter Group. Because of this, it was decided to restore Twilight tier to its wartime condition. In 2011, its restoration was completed, and she made her first public appearance at EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and as chance would have it, I was lucky enough to be there for it. Needless to say, I made sure to get as many pictures as I could, and I've attached those with a link in the description for those interested in it. So this was a little different from episodes before, and I hope it was worthy of your time. I cannot recommend the Twilight tier documentary enough, and I highly suggest you go check it out as soon as possible. The timeline of its various owners and restoration process is very interesting, and you certainly see all the labor of love that went into it. Oh, and one last thing. They loaded it up with 6 live-firing M2 Browning 50 cals and did some shooting. So if that's not enough motivation to go watch it, I don't know what else I can do for you then, other than to say thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.